I was born with head bent. So you did not want to bend your head down, therefore you chose the path where you cannot return. The debt remained, that means we could not solve our debt crisis. Our dignity hit the dust with all these. Our dignity hit the dust, fearing all those problems. You took poison. But I am a woman, I am not teaching my children to go in your way. I teach them that you have to embrace life. Hello students, I am Anil, lecturer, Department of English, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. In this session, we are going to look at a poem titled The Farmer's Wife, written by P. Lalita Kumari, which is P. Lalita Kumari and whose pen name is Olga. Olga is the pen name of the well-known Telugu writer P. Lalita Kumari. She was born in Guntur, one of the big towns and educational centers in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Her stories, novels, and poetry reflect well-articulated feminist positions without compromising either the quality of literary form or failing to represent the reality of the characters. In her poetry, metaphor not only facilitates form but also celebrates ideas depicted in the poetry. Now, this is the poem, The Farmer's Wife. You are virtuous and you are gone, poor sinner that I am, remain. So here, the speaker of this poetry is the farmer's wife. Here, the speaker is the farmer's wife. So here, I is the farmer's wife who is talking here. You are virtuous and you are gone. So here, the speaker, farmer's wife, is addressing her husband. You are virtuous and you are gone, poor sinner that I am, I remain before your creditors. So here, this woman is talking about her dead husband. He has committed suicide and he is gone now. Now she is the only one who has to stand in front of the debtors. Unable to bend your head or stretch your hand or sell your crops, you crossed over. So here she also highlights, poet Volga highlights the hardships farmers face when they do the farming. So here, you committed suicide. Why? Unable to bend your head. You did not want to bend your head in shame, in failure, or stretch out your hand, beg for money or beg for support, or sell your crops. When the crops were in hand, the prices fall down. So this is how farmers face different types of difficulties in order to make the living. You crossed over, you died for all these reasons. But I was born with a head bent. Now she is taking the feministic point of view, though as the farmer's wife, the feministic point of view is this: I was born with head bent. So you did not want to bend your head down, therefore you chose the path where you cannot return. But I am born with the head bent, a hand outstretched. So this highlights how women are dependent on men. There is inequality and women are mostly dependent on men. Not unused to being sold. This is the important line where she talks about women were looked as commodities. Knowing all this, did you leave me? So here she is questioning the male society and also her husband. Knowing all this, that means because of my vulnerabilities, because of all these qualities which society has put on women, did you leave me? You found release with poison. So how did you find release? How did you break yourself free with all these problems? With poison. You drank poison, poisoning my bitter existence. So women were already in trouble and you gave more trouble by escaping the hardship. The cotton crop is but yesterday's, but our family. Now she is questioning those who remain now in the absence of her husband. The cotton crop is but yesterday's. The crop which is there in our hand, that is the past now. But what about the future? The children. How often have I drowned in it? How many times have I escaped death? Whether you abused or reviled me, kicked me when you were drunk, I thought he is but a man. Little did I dream you would deal me a death blow like this. Here, the woman is taking two different forms. One as a woman, one as the wife. She says, how often have I drowned in it? Drowned in life? How many times have I escaped death? So I have gone through so much of hardship than the man. That is what these two lines reflect. Whether you abused or reviled me. Now she is complaining the hardships given by her husband. So whether you abused, you did not treat me well, or reviled me whenever you scolded, kicked me whenever you were drunk. You were drunk, you wanted to vent out your frustration on me. With all these things, through all these circumstances, I survived. I had the brave heart to survive. I thought, but he is a man. So why is he doing like that? I thought he is but a man. That means he goes through more hardship than what I can go through. But here what happened? That man saw escape through poison. Little did I dream you would deal me a death blow like this. I thought you were a man and you would face all these problems like a man. But what happened? You left me like this. True, the crop was gone, the death remained, our dignity hit the dust, our hearts turned to water. But how did you imagine my back would bear the burden of 4 children? Now she is talking about life. Yes, there were many problems. What are the problems? The crop was gone, even the crop did not come well. The debt remained. That means we could not solve our debt crisis. Our dignity hit the dust. With all these, our dignity hit the dust. Our hearts turned to water. That means we could no longer bear the burden. But how did you imagine? Now she is questioning again her husband. My back would bear the burden of 4 children. Now you never thought when you were consuming poison that you have given me 4 children. That is what the woman is asking, the man, the farmer. You saw your crop destroyed. What of the harvest of my womb? Now she is questioning the entire patriarchic society. Here she says, you saw your crop destroyed, but what about the crop in my womb? Can I leave them to the wind? Just like what you did, can I do the same? Like worm-eaten cotton pods. So that crop which is destroyed by the worms, just like that, shall I throw away these kids into the streets, into the wind? It takes a moment to die, but open your mouth and ask. It takes a moment to die, but once the life is gone out of the body, it cannot re-enter. Why did you do like this? That is the question. The woman is asking her husband. You only thought about your crops. What about the children which you have given me? Can I leave them to the wind just like you left me? Can I leave my children in the street just like that? It takes a moment to die, but open your mouth and ask. What is going to happen? If you ask this question to your own self, can you answer this question? What of this? Why of this? Needs a firm heart. So if you ask these questions, what about my children? What about my crop? What about my future? Why is this happening? It needs a firm heart to teach my children to clench a fist, not merely for a handful of rice. So now she says, need a firm heart to teach my children to clench a fist, not merely for a handful of rice. That means I'll teach my children to stay brave, to clench their fist not just for a handful of rice, but in battle I must live. To fight, we have to clench our fist, not just for the crops, but for fighting the real battle. I must live, I must embrace life, not death. So here is what the ultimate sentence she says. I must embrace life, not death. Death is the end. We all know that the death is the last thing, but we should not keep thinking about death all the time. Whenever we have problems in life, we should not look towards death. We have to embrace life. Embrace life and the struggle for life. We should also love this. We should hug life and also we should hug the fight for life. This is how a farmer's life is. And a farmer's wife, when she loses her husband, she puts before us 2 pictures. One is the problems of the farmers, and the main thing is the plight of the woman who is married to a farmer. When farmers commit suicide based on all these problems in their financial life. How is a farmer's wife going to handle the situation? So here she is also rebelling against patriarchic thoughts. When her husband treated her badly, she thought he was a man. But when there were problems in his life, he did not behave like a man, who did not face those problems in a brave manner. And finally, she talks about her own situation in life. And she gives these two important lines for all the readers. She says, I must embrace life, not death. Embrace life and struggle for life. We have to fight for life. We have to embrace life. We should not look at death. Death is not the solution. And one fine day we all die. Then why should we make it early? Choosing death is not a brave thing to do. That is what she says. And she also complains, being a man, fearing all those problems, you took poison. But I am a woman. I am not teaching my children to go in your way. I teach them that you have to embrace life, not choose death. So this is how Olga talks about the problems of the farmers, but also highlights the woman's situation, and woman is braver than man in this situation. There are some words in this poetry. Cotton crop, the highest number of farmers have committed suicide in cotton growing areas. That, taking this instance, she wrote this poem, The Farmer's Wife. Revile means criticize in an abusive and angrily insulting manner. Scolding. Revile. Cotton pod means unripe cotton shell. With this, we come to the end of the poem, The Farmer's Wife. You have to understand two things here. The problems of the farmers, but mainly the position of a woman. Volga, being a feminist, in her thoughts, she talks about a woman who is married to a farmer, and that farmer has committed suicide due to a crop failure, and there is death in their life, there are problems in their life, but she criticizes the act of her husband. What is that act of her husband? That fearing all these crises in his life, he chose death. And finally she says that she would take care of the children. She would be like a man, a brave woman. And she will teach her children to clench their fist, to fight for life, not just for a handful of rice. So she says that we have to embrace life, not death. We have to embrace life and we have to fight for life. We have to face the challenges. That is what she says in this poetry, The Farmer's Wife. So you need to highlight these two things when you answer the questions. That is the plight of the farmers, and the second thing and the main thing is the plight of a woman in our society. We shall meet in the next class. Thank you.